welcome back everyone to the Oceanic tournaments. My name is Shamu, not Shamu, Shadu.
We noticed that there's plenty of people quoting Shadu in the comments. That's a good one to write down right there, Shamu.
I walked into that one, didn't I? At least, unlike Chimera, we don't forget to turn off our mic.
Well, we've got the tech department running that for us. All we have to do is sit here and say stupid things. But the next match is just about ready to start. As you can see, the competitors are on the field. We have Torei Dutalis. I think that's how you... Dutalis is how you pronounce that. And JamaicaMan86. Do you reckon that's when he was born, in 86?
Probably.
That'd make him, what, like 28?
I'm not good at maths. There you go.
That's why it's chunks of armor, not...
yeah,
finite
exactly.
quantities.
We don't want to be too detailed. We have Jamaica here in a Caracol and Torei in a Caracol. Tell us a little bit about the Rangers as the match starts off here.
So Torei in the Caracol has come in pretty close to the center of the arena. And then Jamaica decided to start at about 30 kilometers. Both have closed within range, seeing missile fire from both. Drones are out now from Torei. Yet to see drones from JamaicaMan, although they could just be web drones, similar to the last match, in order to kite. But since they're both in caracols and sitting in each other's range, maybe he's not worrying about using the drones. Could be an oversight. That often happens when you get into a fight and you forget about things like that. No fancy skins on these caracols, or is that that looks like one with the white stripe.
And both caracols here managing their shields so far fairly well. We saw Torei there go deep into shields, but now clawed fully back while Jamaica is on a reload cycle. Torei, on the other hand, is pounding on JamaicaMan. JamaicaMan now starting to lose his edge as he dips below half shields. The thing with these caracols is that they obviously, depending how they're set up, if they're heavy missiles or rapid missiles or whatever missiles they're set up with, we have a slightly different damage profile and reload cycle. What we're seeing here is JamaicaMan is on a longer reload cycle. He just got his missiles back, and he should be getting some damage on to Torei. Jamaica has returned back into about half armor there, but it's not looking too pretty for him at the moment.
Just having a closer look at these two characters there, it does look like JamaicaMan rapid lights that we saw in the previous caracal. Looks like Torei has the heavy assault on this model there.
Whoa, you see damage being applied there to Torei, as you said. Once that those missile launchers come back from the reload cycle, there's a vast amount of damage being applied. Having said that, Torei isn't taking it sitting down. He's probably overloaded his launchers and getting JamaicaMan deep into his shields. There is now a real danger for Jamaica to dip into armor, start bleeding that precious armor, which will not last long on these caracols.
I think what JamaicaMan needs to do at this point is neither of them seem to be scrammed or webbed. He probably needs to pull range again. Now that he's seen that his competitor, his opponent Torei, is using heavy assault missiles, he needs to pull range and use the extra range of the rapid lights and maintain out there for as much of the fight as he can, so that he can conserve those precious cap booster charges for his ancillary shield boosters.
That is most likely a very good advice there. Unfortunately, Twitch stream is going to be slightly delayed, and your advice may not reach Torei in time and JamaicaMan in time. Both competitors still orbiting each other at very low range, which is quite interesting to see. Both of them are in a caracol and really could do with a bit of guiding.
Just having looked at the drone list there to see what was on field, you can see some of the drones are now being shot by Torei. It seemed that JamaicaMan's drones that he has out the other way around. JamaicaMan is being jammed by ECM drones from Torei. Those were the light drones we saw earlier on.
That would explain the long wait time on that damage from one of the competitors. JamaicaMan now still taking fire. Torei taking fire as well. JamaicaMan is still in about 25-30% shields, while Torei now starting to take heavy damage in return as well, but tanking it slightly better. What we should see here is one of these competitors in Caracoles will shortly run out of boost cycle and dip into armor, but which one? It's a bit of a coin toss at the moment.
I think with the way that JamaicaMan is remaining close to Torei, is that the heavy assault missiles are going to have charges for much longer, and he's likely to lose the charges in his shield booster, and he's not going to be able to run for that 60 seconds or whatever unless he's dual shield booster tank like we've seen before. And the hams will easily pound through his shields and his armor before he can reload again. All we yet to see is as soon as those shield boosters to run out of cap charges, and then it'll probably happen.
And what we just saw there was another EC300 being fielded, but being shot down very quickly. Nobody likes to be jammed in a one-on-one tournament. That is, in fact, the worst position you could possibly be in. JamaicaMan tried to make a run for it, but Torei is not having any of it. He's now pounding JamaicaMan back below that half shield mark, but still both competitors managing to keep out of armor. They're tanking fine for now. Maybe there's a bit of bait tanking going on here as well.
Mentioning the ECM drones and that it's the worst thing to be jammed in PvP, how do you think ECM stacks up in the current meta of the game?
That's an interesting question to ask for a man who hasn't played in 2 years. Having said that, ECM is never good. It's not manly, but it is fun to do it to somebody else. With that said, Torei has pulled his shields back almost completely. JamaicaMan still in trouble, hanging on by a thread there. Now it's starting to dip into armor, which is not a comfortable position to be in a shield tanked cruiser with hardly any armor whatsoever. JamaicaMan boosted just at the right time there, but one or two salvos here from Torei, and we're going to see JamaicaMan dip into that armor.
One of the things we haven't seen yet is JamaicaMan's drones. Maybe this is some sort of late strategy from him. I'm not really sure what he can field there, other than perhaps some high damage drones that he might put out when he senses that Torei is on a reload cycle for a cap booster or the ancillary shield booster, just to maximize that damage during the time when he can get as much of it in as he can. Just to prevent them from being shot in the meantime. If he has them out now, obviously he has been shooting down Torei's drones early on in the match, so he could be holding them in reserve for something there, or maybe it's going to be a last-ditch thing like the ECM drones to try and jam his target while he has to reload an armor, a shield booster or a cap booster.
So far, what we're seeing here, though, I have to say, are two very evenly matched opponents. Both obviously know how to fly their ships. There's no longer this joke element in this part of the finals anymore. Everybody knows how to fly their ships, and often this middle part of the match, once both opponents have kind of felt each other out, it's very much a tie until one of them makes a mistake or runs out of those cap booster charges. What we're seeing here is the Torei definitely being able to apply more of a constant cap pressure on JamaicaMan by doing that very constant heavy damage and forcing Jamaica to overload every now and then, to pull back from the brink of death, as per se. JamaicaMan getting in those salvos every now and then on Torei, but not really getting into any trouble whatsoever. Both parties taking damage still, quite constantly. What we'll see Jamaica here shortly coming up is out of his missiles and being forced into that reload cycle, while Torei is now pounding on JamaicaMan, getting him to 0% shields almost, and we should see him go into armor very quickly.
As you say that, of course, the shields boost back up again, and he's not in as much danger as he thought. Just looking a little closer, I can see the effect there coming from Torei's caracal of what looks like the old tracking computer effect. I believe that recently added to the game there are tracking computers, so to speak, for missiles. I forget what they're called now, but they could be like accuracy bonus, so that he can do better shots with the heavy assault missiles there, which are notoriously bad for hitting even cruisers, which is what they're designed to do. So that could make a real difference here in the mid-slot layout. Obviously, he's doing more accurate damage to JamaicaMan, but if he's using a mid-slot there to increase his accuracy, then he's obviously not using it for either cap or other E-War to hold JamaicaMan down, or tank itself, like an extra resist module or something like that. So,
well, that's right. Being that one mid slot down, you would think that Torei would be in a little bit more trouble here, but it is constantly JamaicaMan who is under pressure from the heavy missile caracal. JamaicaMan now trying to make the run for it. Perhaps he has run out of cap charges or going into a reload cycle here, as we see him dip once again to about 20% shields. Torei is obviously chasing, but slightly slower than JamaicaMan right now. Sensing that he's probably not going to make it anywhere, JamaicaMan turns back around, perhaps wants to man up, going into 10% armor cycles. What we should see here is JamaicaMan perhaps making a run for those drones as well. He has some drone bay, as I have learned, so maybe he should go pick up a few of those drones for some extra damage, but so far it's not looking too good for JamaicaMan.
I thought that what we're seeing here is him perhaps trying to outrun his opponent, where I mentioned earlier that he should try to pull range and use his rapid light missile range to do the damage instead. If he was outside of the heavy assault missile range of Torei, then he wouldn't have to take it as often.
That's right. Once again, JamaicaMan now at about 5-10% shields, starting to bleed into that armor reserve, but still pulling back every now and then. Torei, if he now put in a little bit of heat there, he might actually burst through this cycle, but still hanging in there by the skin and teeth. Torei, on the other hand, now mistimed his shield reload cycles, got dangerously low in his shields there at about 20%, still keeping JamaicaMan at that armor barrier, and now we see some armor damage starting to bleed into JamaicaMan. This is going desperately slowly still, but at least we're seeing some sliver of hope of a match ending here. With JamaicaMan starting to lose at about 10-20% of his armor.
It seems like, like the previous match, we're going to end up in a situation where we're just running out of cap charges, and whoever goes first and uses the capacitor and their charges and reload cycles between weapons and those shield breaches.
Yes, obviously this tournament is using the 1 versus 1 format. Using the new dueling system that got added while I was on my little down under holidays myself. The benefit, and as we see JamaicaMan now, has gone through his armor into his hull. He's now in half hull, losing hull at rapid pace, not able to bring it back. We should see the match finally come to an end here as JamaicaMan makes a final dash for damage on Torei, but that's not enough at about half hull now, in about 10 hull, and JamaicaMan is down. Well done to Torei. Finally, the match ended there. There's a little bit of a well, a stalemate until one of them, as you correctly predicted, ran out of cap charges.